But listen, history repeats. LA versus New England. Again. What's going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? New England won!
Hello and welcome into a Super Bowl edition of Football Now presented by Skybook. Red Sox legend Pedro Martinez there, fired up for the big game. It goes down Sunday, February 3rd, 17 years to the day since the Patriots defeated the Rams by a field goal in Super Bowl 36. Super Bowl 53 will be just the 7th Super Bowl rematch in NFL history. The Patriots will have been a part of 3 of those 7, as they've also played the Giants and the Eagles twice in the big game. The Patriots are the 3rd team to reach at least 3 straight Super Bowls. It's a division thing. Miami and Buffalo are the only other franchises to achieve the feat. With their victory in Kansas City, the Pats tied the Steelers for most playoff wins all time and extended their NFL record, clinching their 11th Super Bowl berth. The first 2, of course, were BB, before Belichick Brady. They're now in position to tie the Steelers for the NFL record of 6 Super Bowl wins in franchise history. So it's 2 teams on opposite ends of the Super Bowl experience spectrum going toe-to-toe a week from Sunday. It'll be Bill Belichick's 12th Super Bowl overall, the most among any head or assistant coach in NFL history, and it's his 9th Super Bowl appearance as a head coach. On the other hand, it'll be Rams head coach Sean McVay's first Super Bowl ever, and that's not all. Players on the Patriots' 53-man roster have a collective 86 Super Bowls under their belt. The Rams have collectively played in 5. 38 of the Patriots' 53 have at least some Super Bowl experience, leaving only 15 who will be making their first appearance on the big stage. Meanwhile, only 4 Rams players have Super Bowl experience, with C.J. Anderson being the only player to have played in more than 1. Tom Brady leads his squad with 8 trips to the big game, while Rams quarterback Jared Goff will be playing on the biggest stage in American sports for the first time. Here's what the guys in the Pats locker room had to say about the benefits of knowing the drill.
Very fortunate, since the playoffs started, I go home and my wife's like, do what you got to do. Throughout the playoffs, she was like, I want to go to the Super Bowl, so do what you got to do. I got the kids, study film, and it's the same way now. If she ever is on me, I'm like, you want to win the Super Bowl or not? So that definitely helps at home with her stepping up and taking even more of a lead that she already has. And that's what we just try to encourage and tell the guys, for one, get as much studying and work done while we're here, your normal kind of routine, going home, because it gets even harder once we get there and you're in a hotel now. You're trying to balance watching film, media and all of that stuff. So we try to get a lot of work done here and then just keep sharpening it as the game gets closer and closer.
I mean, it's really just to stay focused. I mean, there's so many distractions all over the place when you get down there. There's events left and right every day, every night, morning to night. And we're down there for one reason, it's to get the win. And the only thing you remember from the trip is if you won or if you lost. So you just got to stay focused and put it all in so you can go out there and we can do what we got to do.
The Patriots' offensive linemen sure have been focused this postseason. With their help, the Patriots have amassed 1,022 yards of total offense in the playoffs, and they've given up 0 sacks, something Tom Brady certainly appreciates. Brady posted this pic on his Instagram story, tagging his O-lineman. That's his exceptionally clean jersey after the Pats game in Kansas City. As TB12 points out, not a single grass stain. Who needs Tide Pods when you've got these guys in the trenches? Julian Edelman also posting about the O-line on Instagram. The Trenchmen. Big dogs gotta eat. Well, they gotta eat and work out, according to Belichick.
But I think our offensive line is a overall pretty athletic group. They work hard, they train hard, they all run well. So, we do conditioning drills. I would say it's always, it's good, but it's always a little bit surprising to me how well they run as a group relative to other groups. I mean, they're not that far behind other players, in some cases skill players that are, you think of as faster, but actually those guys, they run pretty well.
Those guys will be put to the test in Atlanta. The Rams' defensive front is an absolute force, led by monster sack master Aaron Donald, who led the league with 20.5 sacks in 2018. LA has tallied 3 sacks so far this postseason. And now let's turn it over to Doug Kyde for this week's mailbag.
Hello and welcome to this week's mailbag. I'm Doug Kyde. If you have a question for me, tweet it to me at Doug Kyde using the hashtag MailDoug, and I will try to answer it. First question here comes from Ken McCartney, who asks, what's the biggest weakness in the Rams defense? How does the Pats defense slow down the well-balanced Rams offense? I think the biggest weakness on the Rams defense is probably just size and strength overall. They have 2 very good defensive tackles in Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh, but both of those guys are kind of undersized. They don't have a traditional nose tackle up front. Their defensive edge players, our linebackers, also are all undersized. So I think the Patriots running game will be able to get going against the Rams with James Devlin as a fullback leading the way, the offensive line opening holes, Sony Michel, Rex Burkhead, James White at running back. As far as the Rams offense goes, they're pretty top heavy with wide receivers and Robert Woods and Brandon Cooks. You have to worry about Gurley coming out of the backfield there at running back, but you know, it's not that dangerous of a wide receiver core. So I think the Patriots can trust their secondary to cover those wide receivers and load up a little bit against Todd Gurley and that running game.
Thanks, Doug. Now, there's no doubt this Patriots team has become something special. The road to Super Bowl 53 hasn't been easy, but the adversity they faced brought the team together. And we saw those bonds on display after their AFC Championship win in Kansas City.
I think when you go through a whole year with other people trying to experience the same thing, which we are, we're all trying to win games and contribute and help the team, then you form a bond with individuals and collectively as a group. So we achieved a very successful moment the other night. I think everybody felt it.
People will always talk about X's and O's and where you rank here or there. But people, no one knows except for us, what we go through in the locker room, what guys go through personally when you come in here, and you kind of put all that aside and you got to lean on each other. And I think both teams are I'm sure they have very similar stories to what we have in this locker room, because to make it through, 16 games in a regular season and then through the playoffs, you have to have a tight-knit group. You have to be close. You have to go out there when the game's hard and it's not going your way at times, and to keep fighting. That's doing it for each other. So,
yeah, I mean, I love my teammates. I tell them all the time, we're family. I tell them, you play like a family, you win like a family, you lose like a family. So I say it all the time, and if they ever need anything, I got them, and they all know that. I don't have to come up here and say that. They know that. So I've developed a lot of friendships and brothers through this process. So it's definitely some love here.
How does that translate to what you guys are able to do on the field?
You're playing for your family. Someone takes a cheap shot at somebody. We don't take cheap shots, but you remember it. So it's like someone trying to get your brother. So if you got a brother or a sister, I hope you go fight for them. If not, then you guys suck. But it is what it is.
Great stuff. Great camaraderie. That's it for this episode of Football Now, presented by Skybook. We'll be coming at you next week from Radio Row in Atlanta. Make sure to tune in.